This is the beginning. I wanted to tell you something that about, see, this is the first page of it. Involution and evolution, ending, you see, enfolding and unfolding. It's called in many ways. Presumably, we are in the new age. If there is something like that, we are in the new age. Presumably, okay? The scientists, spiritualists, proponents of the logos, thinkers loyal to different orders, and like David Bohm. But David Bohm was one of the greatest thinkers. He was a great physician, world-renowned physician, and physiologist. Physicist. He was a physiologist also. And so he was well known in the whole world. He has written some books of Implicate order, Explicate order, Review mode, and all those things. And I happened to have some conversation with him, a dialogue, in England, a dialogue. We talked the British tongue anyway, and that tongue was very predominant in England. And we had we had a discussion about his implicate and explicate order. And ancient sages and saints, this I was telling him, who expounded without external experimentation the idea of creation, preservation and absorption. There are three parts to the creation. It's a creation, sustaining the creation, that is preservation and absorption. Ultimately, it goes back to where it has come from. Have all become subject of controversy with no end in sight. It's all controversial. Why David Bohm, we should listen to David Bohm, implicate and explicate order. Why this involvement and evolvement. That's what Patricia's topic, involvement and evolvement. And so it's hard for common people to understand the infinite discussions going on in different realms of knowledge and knowledgeable attitudes. Knowledge and knowledgeable attitudes are two different things. Knowledge you have, but you have an attitude, knowledgeable attitude also. That contributes a lot of confusion. As a follower of all the branches of knowledge and science, I have tried to make this profound subject simple and realistic from the point of layman who was steeped in ignorance. So our food cooking is for the layman, not for the sophisticated rich people, because they eat very heavy food, like caviar and all those things. And common people cannot afford those things, So we eat, as we eat today, plantain. This God-given simple things which you can pluck and eat. So implicate and explicate order, which is the same as involvement and evolvement. There are also ideas thrown into the cauldron of discussion, such as body, mind, and spirit, the triplicate components of human life, which have great bearing on health, well-being, and wholeness. See, this is the picture you can see. This is the human body. You can say, holographic way, this is the human body. This human body has got a lot of components. This Sandy's picture, I don't know how she got it, but a lot of things are there. One thing you must know before I go further.
From my husband.
Okay, before I go further, once you know this whole human body of ours, which is an excellent instrument. That's why even Saint Francis called it, make me an instrument of thy peace. He didn't say, make me an instrument of thy gluttony. He didn't say that. He make me an instrument of thy peace. And peace comes when you really behave well, not otherwise. So this is wholeness. Health is of the body. We talk about health, it is of the body. Well-being is the mind, these three components of integral medicine and New Age medicines and all those things. Three components are there. So it's health of the body. Health is of the body. Well-being is of the mind. And wholeness is of the spirit. These three components we have got very predominantly in our system. So in particular instances are all three at once, and then again we are sometimes disconnected to them in certain living conditions. See, the body, mind, and spirit. And body, mind, and spirit, you consider matter. Matter is a component. Then comes the body, then comes the mind, then comes the spirit. These four components are there. That's called four legs of human system. You know. So in the simple exploratory principle is that everything has been created by God or an equivalent force which you cannot comprehend. This all the religions say that. Okay. The creation has a period of duration, health, well-being, and wholeness, as well as discordant, circumstantial upheavals and the culmination of its existence. Its existence is culminated at some node of discombobulated, right? Yeah. We are in the discipline of the cosmic law. The cosmic law is something we try to understand, but we don't understand it, cosmic law, because we don't have a cosmic consciousness. Unless we have the cosmic consciousness, we will not be able to understand the cosmic law. Okay? So this is what happened. We are under the discipline of the cosmic law, and if we fail to abide by the cosmic law, we separate ourselves from the cosmological benefit and benevolent and become discombobulated. That's Patricia's word, it's not mine, psychological word. The creation started with opposites because the opposites were inherent in the creative principle, even though opposites are not really opposites, but sometimes complementary, such as husband and wife, father and mother, brother and sister, and man and woman. They are complementary. They are not opposites as a matter of fact. We make it opposites by fighting and bickering and all those things, but they are not opposites. They are complementary to each other. Now, how a man and woman can be opposite? In what way? Physical appearance, right? But how do you know that is opposite? Physical appearance is complementary as a matter of fact. The men cannot live without women and women cannot live without men. Somebody asked me a question, what is your position about these women? I said, I'm for them. Sure. It's simple. A simple explanation is for all those things. Sometimes they're complementary. At this stage, one must decide whether the implicate order or the internal order, implicate order is internal order. We implicate ourselves in internal order and the explicate order or the external order are opposite or complementary. They are opposite or complementary. They are actually complementary as a matter of fact. Because when religion says, know thyself, you implicate ourselves. And I have known myself, you explicate yourself. That means you extricate yourself from that. Okay. Philosophically, internal order is positive as it becomes from the creative principle, and the external order is an outcome of the internal order with a difference. It is the internal order. We never know an external order unless we know the intricate internal order. When you are children, you are under the internal order, you must know that. It is instinctive, but it is in order. When you grow up, you evolve, what you call evolution, we evolve. And in evolving, we rarefy ourselves, we scatter ourselves, and become a proponent of this external order, extricate order. The internal order is based on qualities that lead to happiness, joy and equanimity, according to the scriptures of the world, New Age included. It is still in the New Age, okay? So now what happens, there is another hand, this is handout, and this one is handover, Yeah. That means I hand over the judgment to you, okay, of whatever you want to do.
On the bottom of
I got somewhere here. Okay. This is what happens when you become old. Okay. Last year we had this explanation of the nature of human being. The nature. How many kind of nature we have got? We have got a divine nature, and we have got a human nature, and we have got a carnal nature. These three natures we have got. But if you really attend to our nature, real nature, is only one nature, is divine nature. Okay. So in that, in the divine nature, we have co-creative principle. It's a co-creative principle in which we have absolute existence. In that divine nature, we experience the absolute existence. Knowledge, bliss, pure consciousness, universality of mind. You can read all those things. I need not tell all those things, right? Because we don't have a lot of time. Huh? Tea time will come very short. Yeah, so you can read all those things. You have got the papers with you? This page? You got. John, you have got this paper? John, you got this paper? Okay. So you can read it, you know? And if you have any doubts, you can ask me. I can remove all the doubts that the human mind can express. The human mind is only capable of expressing doubts, not the divine mind. So, not the carnal mind even, because they are one-pointed in carnality. But human is a balanced in the middle. Now, this divine nature is what you call the implicate order. Our implicate order, or the order that is inside of us, and it actually very expansive. It spreads all our personality, performance, and ideas, predisposed ideas, presuppositions. All this comprises. And human and the carnal is the explicate order. It is exactly purely explicate, and it is purely divine. There are two things: purely divine and purely explicate, or external. And in between is the human nature. In between these two extremes is the human nature. The human, that's I call it the supplicate order. I have not discussed it with David Baum. He died before I discussed it, and now I cannot discuss with him. I can in some ways, if he is available in his yeah. Now, this is very fascinating spiritual components we have got. Very fascinating spiritual. Only human beings have that spiritual component, because God is totally absolute, and the carnal is downright the opposite. But in the human nature, we have got both, balancing both. That's why you have got problems when you try to balance both. Very consciously and unconsciously, we try to balance both. And then we have the problems of it. Now, the manifestations of characteristics, how we manifest our characteristics. Now, you have this body. Okay, even Kashi can see that. You have the body, right? You can see. But this body is in a capsule. This is even though we have this body, which you feel ours, you don't see anything beyond the skin you touch, you don't feel anything. But it is encapsulated in what the scientists call the electromagnetic field. Electromagnetic field. And the ancient people called it aura, electromagnetic field. And we are encapsulated in the electromagnetic field. And when our divine qualities, manifest and become very predominantly our qualities, then this magnetic field increases, expands itself. And it is said, once it is said that, it is about 3 inches, outside the skin, only 3 inches in ordinary circumstances. When the human quality, it is about 2 feet outside the skin. The divine qualities, it can extend to unlimited, it is absolute, unlimited. So it is said that Buddha, who was the just incarnate of the divine, has his this aura, in those days they call it aura, 11 miles wide. And whoever came within that distance, within that 11 miles will be attracted to it, attracted to him. That means the divine quality. Attractive, not the personal, his body or anything, the divine qualities. So they attracted divine qualities. And then Socrates had, I think, about 3 feet, beyond his skin. And it is said that Jesus Christ had about 5 feet beyond his skin. Because they were all incarnations, as a matter of fact. And then they had this divine incarnation. Why? They had, how do you call it divine incarnation? It's not the body, the same human body. They are all born in the same human body with all the shortcomings and difficulties and all those things. Went through all the suffering from childhood to till their death. But only Jesus Christ went through a terrible period of suffering when he was crucified, nailed, scourged and nailed to the cross. So he went through all. And of course, if the belief of the Christians is correct, I believe in that. He suffered for us, no doubt about it. And then we have this, when these qualities are here, the manifestation of characteristics in divine qualities, what happens? In the creative universe, in the created universe, this quality is expressed only in the created universe, not the uncreated universe. The uncreated universe is what you call the unknown. That there is an uncreated universe also. And the created universe, which we have access to, we can see and feel and experience the created universe. What are the qualities of that person? Compassion. That's the first quality that comes from that, the divine qualities manifest in the manifested world, expresses as compassion. The divine, the creator, whatever the divine, that creative force is, it expresses as compassion. It expresses as peace. It expresses as piety. It expresses as equanimity, simplicity, and serenity. These are the expressions of divine qualities. It expresses in us, outside us, and in the world, manifest world. And the human qualities, what it actually expresses. See, it's next to divine qualities. That's the heart qualities. Whatever you decide what your heart qualities are. I'm not talking about the palpitation or those things. No. Heart qualities. It's not the quality of the muscle. It's the quality of the essence of that muscle which has given us life, living conditions. That is, then mind qualities. What are these mind qualities? You decide all those things. Then spiritual qualities. A human being can only become spiritual, nobody else. He can become spiritual. So it is his privilege and birthright to be spiritual. And sacred qualities, that's what the sacred psychology, which Patricia expresses all the things, sacred psychology, And the quality is realized holy order. Holy order is the same as the divine cosmic order. That's the holy order. Whole, it is whole. That order is whole. Holy means whole. It comes from the same root. Whole and holy comes from the same root. So it's whole. So it's the whole order, not fragmented anywhere. It's the whole order. This is possible to only human beings. Okay. And then you have carnal nature, passion, disturbance of the heart. Where in human quality there is no disturbance of the heart. But in carnal quality you have the disturbance of the heart, anger. And what it does, I have given some symptoms of that. Passion, this is not the passion of Christ. This is not the passion of sacrifice. It's the passion to acquire more and more. It is passion to harm somebody. It's passion to wage war. They are all passions, sure. Wage war. Those passions, And then eat Atkins diet, meat. That's passion. That's also passion, So that causes a disturbance of the heart. Now, the disturbance of the heart includes palpitation, shortness of breath, right? And discomfort, pain in the, not actually to the left, not the very left ventricle, but the right ventricle of the heart. That's what it causes. And then anger. You have anger. Suddenly you get angry on someone. For no reason, you get angry. A husband becomes angry on his wife because he's a wife. He has the right to become angry on her. And that anger is what it causes: liver and blood problems. Liver problem is enlargement of the liver, malfunction of the liver, too much bile in the liver, and the blood problem. What are the blood problems? Scratching. Scratching and all sorts of things. When blood is polluted, you have got a real pollution. Itching and scratching And of course, you can maximum strength Lanocaine you can use, to stop the scratching, but it doesn't stop immediately. It is deep goes into the blood. And so many other problems, deep in the mind. Then greed, mental problems. When you have greed, you want to acquire something. The greed is a very funny thing. How do you say that you have got greed? I tell you one real example. When I was living in Santa Fe 16 years ago, I was living in Pachori Conquistadora, a house I had, and a lot of patients used to come there, and I used to talk with them, treat them, and all those things. And I had two neighbors. One is an Anglo, other side. My left side and right side was a a Spaniard, right? Hispanic. And they were very friends. In between I was in between them. So when he talks to this man, that will go through my house. I could always discern what he was telling to this man. And this man talked to him this way, So it's a cross current, that man will talk from that side, this man will talk to this side, and the middle I was. And I thought, I don't think it was a disturbance or anything. I was enjoying their talks, nice, very friendly talks and all that. And one day, this Anglo, he had a Toyota or some kind of a car, okay? And he brought a Mercedes Benz. And this man, his name was, Tafoya or something, I don't remember even what their names were. So he told me, have you seen that Mercedes Benz in his driveway? I said, yes. What of it? He brought a Mercedes Benz. Why should he bring a Mercedes Benz? I got a pickup. It's all right, you can have your pickup. Here is the Mercedes Benz. No, that disturbs me, he said. That disturbs me, See, this greedy, not because he wanted a Mercedes Benz, because his neighbor has it, Mercedes Benz, his driver. That's how the conflict began. And one has to leave that place with this conflict. And I was in the midst of the conflict. And then I really advised them not to leave, because they had faith in me in some way, because one of the daughters of the house went astray. He ran away from home. And I brought her at 2 o'clock in the midnight, caught her in a park, and caught hold of her and brought her, dragged her to the house. I was very strong, Now I'm pretty old. But in those days, strong. So I actually caught hold of her, and her boyfriend ran away. He ran away. And I brought her. He said, I can't go home. My father will kill me. I said, no, you stay in my house. That's the middle house. So, so I followed always the middle path, not extreme paths. So she stayed in my house in the night. And next day morning I called this Montoya. His name is Montoya, and I remember Montoya. I called him and said, your daughter is in my house. What? He said, yes. She ran away from my home. Yes, he ran away. I brought her, yesterday night. I caught her in the park, and her boyfriend ran away, and I could caught hold of her hand and drag her to the house. And she doesn't want to go to your house because you will kill her. That's what he said, My father will kill me, See, so I don't want to have that blood on my hand. So, now what do you want to do? I said, you come to my house, talk to her. And his wife and they both came. And don't say any bad words, I said. Just talk to her nicely. My child, you see, I have brought you up all these years. You are now 17 years old. You ran away with a boy whom you did not know even. We don't know that boy. I didn't know that boy. So that's not a good thing to do on your part. So why did that? She said, Dad, it's all hormonal, she said. A 17-year-old girl, say, it's all hormonal. Great defense, you see, it's a great defense. We have no control of the hormones. We don't know what it is. I told hormones mean when you start moaning, it's called hormones. So it is a horror moaning. You see. So, and anyway, they reconciled. And I took her to his house, next door to took her to his house. and said, go into a room and meditate. I said, what is this meditation? Yeah, I'll tell you what to do. So I sat there for about 15 minutes, taught her how to meditate. Close your eye. Don't think about the hormones. Don't think about your boyfriend. He ran away. If you're a real boyfriend, he would not run away. See, he would have a hero. See, stood against me and fought with me. I could have killed him. That's a different thing. In those days, that was different. But then, this lady did. And for 7 days, she was in that room. They supplied the food to her. I asked Montoya, I will supply the food to her if you don't. But give her the food. Take care of her. So 1 week, she was in that room. Suddenly, everything changed. Everything changed. Now, after 2 years, she went to college and everything. In 2 years, she got married, 19 or something. And she had kids, a good husband, a beautiful family. See, this is now whether you treat these people psychologically, they won't listen. So, some force you have to use. Drag that person to goodness. Drag this person to righteousness. You have to drag that person with all your strength and might. Of course, there is somebody else who not like that, somebody else flying in the air. Yeah, okay. So, see, you have to use force in some ways, but it is non-violent force. You don't hit the person, you don't slap the person, you drag that person. So we have this expression, when you are very much depressed or something, we drag our legs, right? I am dragging my legs. How many people have dragged the legs? They are dragging your legs. Now she knows very well. She dragged her legs. Okay. I can diagnose, sitting here I can diagnose. So that's what anger, greed, then this causes mental problems like this. Then attachment, kidney problems. Who have got kidney dialysis and everything, you have got extreme attachment to things of the world. Now, I don't say a person. Extreme attachment to things of the world, you get kidney problems. Okay. Then pride, brain problems. Where the brain, it may get a tumor, it may get fissures, it may get a lot of things, when you have that. That is pride. Then jealousy, heart problems, always heart problems. Jealousy is accompanied by heart problems, because it's the heart quality that becomes jealous. That is the carnal quality of the heart. Become jealous at everything, If somebody is having a good dress, you become jealous. If somebody is walking in a different fashion, you become jealous. If somebody is using a colored cloth, somebody using a silk, you become jealous. I can't have the silk cloth, you become jealous. Somebody is using Mercedes, you become jealous. That's all jealous quality. And this Montoya had the heart problem. But he's okay, still he's alive, I tell you that. Yeah. It's about 16 years ago, or 18 years ago, 86 or something happened, and I was living in that. So, these are the things you must be very careful about. And these are scientifically proved facts, I tell you. It's not only philosophical or spiritual insight into human body and human spirit and everything, but it is also scientifically proved facts. The experiment is experimented upon and scientifically proved. But now what happens in the usual way we live in, we don't care for these things, we care for some medicine, We go to a doctor and get some medicine and take. It has side effect, Till we'll tolerate the side effect rather than to do these things. Give up all those things. No, we don't. Yeah. We try to remain greedy. We try to remain, all those things we do. See, this is a simple thing. This is a simple psychological fact, also a simple medical fact, also a simple health fact, and it's a physical fact. All those factors are there in this. So, now you need not know the physiognomy of a person, you need not study biology and all those things. It's very complicated, But these simple things, you follow this, you'll be free from all those things. All the diseases accrued from these qualities we develop in, we call it growth. It's not growth. It is actually decline and degradation of the human soul, human spirit, human mind, human body. It's a degradation, you know.